Greetings pilots and welcome to episode 2 of SCANalytics, a video series dedicated to analyzing match videos and explaining the decisions, design choices, and thought processes that players go through in Armored Core Verdict Day. The following match is from the game time on March 3rd, 2017 and is a 3v3 battle with ZeFromCheng 55, Venice Duke 310, and I versus Seb Hello, Zenith 2025, and Nikkei Ryuzetsu on Vosto Base / Duststorm. I am using a lightweight AC with shotguns and CE missiles focused on close range combat. Zombie is using an unorthodox HRJ with heat cannon weapon arms and a shotgun pulse gun combo. Venice Duke is using a Cornelius Archibald sniper LRJ with a shield and pulse gun. Seb is using a custom lightweight with dual pistols, a battle rifle, and pile driver. Zenith is using a lightweight with sniper rifles, a shield, and laser rifle. And Nikkei is using an LRJ with dual Howies and plasma guns. Being a casual match, I am largely unaware of the builds brought by both my teammates and opponents for most of the match. We spawn in the open area while the opposing team is in the rock formations. On this map, my first and primary goal is to move away from this area, which has very little cover and is detrimental to my build's effectiveness. The design of Vosto Base's map is large, and the lack of terrains on most of the map means that teams are generally unwilling to engage immediately due to the inherent disadvantage that comes from making the first move. Attacking means traversing a huge distance with little to no cover or protection. Taking this into account, I begin to boost left towards the sand dunes. Because of the area where the opponent starts, they are unable to see our position for the first 5 to 10 seconds of the match, which means if I can get to that area, there's a good chance that I can move unnoticed and sneak towards them. I verify my position and viewpoint every so often to ensure that I am out of line of sight of the enemy team. I am also making sure to keep an eye on my own team to make sure that they are not following me, as it would most likely tip off the other team. Based on the markers, I can tell that they are remaining around our spawn point, either not wanting to make the first move or catching on to what I was doing. This is perfect, as it means I am able to continue on my route with no complications. My teammates remaining in place means the enemy team will remain largely unaware of my approach, as the distance is too far for most heads to scan. I make my way to the rock formations without issue. However, as I enter within range of the enemy team, they suddenly begin their advance forward to engage my teammates. I don't know whether it's because they either became impatient or noticed my absence, but I reassess the situation to figure out what I should do next. Based on their movement, it appears they still have not noticed me, nor are they actively searching for my whereabouts. I decide that I will follow them from behind and ambush the closest one, in hopes of turning this battle in our favor. I scan and target the first AC that I see, a lightweight with rather low defenses and a light loadout. My AC has 2 shotguns and a medium CE missile, which will allow me to do considerable damage as well as a fair amount of stun. As I close the distance between us, I quickly pop out of scan mode and deliver a full blast right in his face. I deal about 4k in the initial pass, missing out on the bulk of my damage due to my missiles missing. I slowly begin to turn around and look downward, expecting to see my opponent's hard landing due to the impact force of my lightweight shotgun. However, as I reassess the situation, I realize that my opponent, Seb, is still in glide boost. This is problematic, as turning in this particular position has pushed me out of glide boost, and I am now sitting in the air while Seb is turning to make a pass back at me in retaliation. I turn to face him, attempting to deal damage. Although my shotgun rounds do not fully hit, my missiles do, dealing more damage to him. At this exact moment, however, ZeFromCheng goes down while fighting Nikkei, his AC most likely not fast enough to escape her plasma gun barrage. I am now forced to reassess the position of myself, my teammate, and the enemy team, which results in me temporarily losing track of Seb. I decide to boost up the lone building on our side of the map and see if I can find the enemy's team's position. I am able briefly to see the 2 enemies that are within my range. Unfortunately, I am not able to scan them due to low scan performance of my head, so I decide to simply confront the closest AC to me. It turns out to be Seb, and I close in an attempt to kill him as quickly as possible so we can focus on the other 2 ACs. I continue to pursue him and slowly whittle him down, while I at the same time am being targeted by Nikkei with howitzer shots just barely missing or grazing me. Despite being able to bring him down to less than 2k AP, I am not able to finish him off due to low energy and the realization that my teammate, Duke, is currently in the middle of a 2v1. While I know that leaving Seb alive would probably haunt me later in the match, I assess that I cannot afford to lose my other teammate and risk a 3v1. I turn my attention to the closest AC, this time Zenith, who is still focusing on Duke. With his back towards me, I unleash another volley and manage to take off another 7,000 AP before he realizes what's going on and retreats. I decide to back off as well to avoid having to deal with this shield and laser rifle, which I assume is a Kurosawa. While thinking of how to next approach the situation, a volley of howitzers barely miss me. I turn to see that Nikkei has been behind me. I forget during this that Seb has not been killed yet, and so I let Duke take on Zenith while I tackle Nikkei without taking into account the extra enemy AC. I assess my own situation again. I am unable to scan Nikkei due to the current close proximity, and I don't want to waste my time as I need to either engage and finish her as quickly as possible or force her to back off. My FCS has a very short range however, and I don't know if I am close enough to attack her. I need to be careful as her howitzer volleys are incredibly damaging at this range, especially if I miscalculate my approach. I quickly notice a small line of buildings right below me and decide my next course of action. The distance between these smaller buildings and the one I am currently on is fairly short, which means if I wall jump or boost forward, I could make it to them with a decreased chance of being hit. Timed correctly, and assuming the distance between myself and Nikkei is correct, I should be able to move forward, take a quick pick at her AP, potentially fire a shot and force a reaction, and go back into cover before any damage could be done to me. I wall jump to the side and boost forward and cut my boosters while firing a shotgun volley, and successfully return to the safety of another building. My prediction was correct, as a round of howitzer shells fly past my previous position. Had I simply boosted forward or wall jumped forward, I most likely would have been hit by all those rounds. I then attempt to pursue Nikkei, but it quickly becomes evident that it's a losing battle. She's playing too defensively for me to tack on any reliable damage, which is putting me in bad positions and leaving me open to her howitzer rounds. I decide that any more attempts to push forward would not be beneficial to me, and instead move to reinforce my teammate. I boost back to the rock formations where Duke is currently holding his own against Zenith. Again, Zenith is too focused on Duke to realize what's going on, and I ambush him. While he is able to get a shot on me, he ultimately is not agile enough to escape the pressure and is destroyed with combined firepower from myself and Duke. We then turn our attention to Nikkei, who has finally caught up, and begin hammering her. This is short-lived however, as Duke is destroyed by Seb, who has reappeared out of nowhere. I turn to face him and finish the job, but now I'm left in a predicament. With Duke now dead, I am concerned as to whether I have enough firepower to kill Nikkei. I have 17k AP with 9 shells in each of my shotguns and 2 medium missiles left against Nikkei's 19k AP, dual howitzers, and dual plasma guns. Against a heavier opponent I would most likely be okay, but against her more mobile LRJ, there was a fairly good chance that I may run out of ammo before I can defeat her. I'm also pressed for time as I only have 2 recons left, and running out would limit my options to face her. That being said, I don't process the information fast enough and end up wasting 2 shots and the last 2 missiles while completing my analysis. I am however able to glean useful information. While her AC is fast, Nikkei's reactions are somewhat sluggish, as I've noted a few times where she hasn't reacted quickly, particularly during my glide boost offensives. On top of that, she's chosen to not purge her plasma guns, so her LRJ isn't able to reach its maximum speed. I decided based on this, that quick, clean glide boosts with shotguns to her face are the key to wearing her down. I take what looks like an opportunity to deal free damage and get hit by howitzers instead. I'm knocked out of glide boost due to the angle, but luckily the shots don't register. I back off and fail to push forward again, giving enough time for Nikkei to recollect and launch an assault of her own. She switches to her plasma guns, probably to see if she can get me with their quick lock, but they fail to work. While reliable against heavy ACs, their lower muzzle makes it too difficult for her to hit my lightweight even with subcomputer boosting their lock speed. She immediately sees this and switches back to howitzers, but not before I land another point blank shot. I cut my boosters and drop to the ground to prevent her from starting up another glide boost pass with her weapons. I back off once again to reassess the position. I glide boost towards her and just narrowly avoid her Howie volley. I need to be more careful. While Nikkei's reactions are still a tad too slow, she's starting to pick up on my habits more accurately and scouting out my movement by placing Howie shots in certain positions. I land another shot as I boost past her, but I can't continue with the second pass as I'm too low on energy. I also realize that I can't afford to take that shot even though I have lock on, as the distance is too great. With her having a little over 8k AP left, I'm fairly certain I won't be able to kill her with my next few hits, unless they are all point blank. Reassessing the situation, I notice I have retreated to one of the smaller rock formations. This is bad as they are significantly shorter than the other ones, and I need to make sure that if she attacks or I advance, that I am either on equal or higher ground than her. Being below her runs a higher risk of my shots not connecting due to the angle, and gives her an easier time to aim and use her weapons. I move to the sides towards a closer and slightly larger rock formation. Still not the same as the one she's on, but I chose not to risk moving to the next one as she may try to jump me during the process. I wait to see what her next move would be. At first, she hesitates, but then she decides to glide boost towards me, with her plasma guns firing. I decide against taking a shot as we are approaching each other at too high a speed, and I simply skim right by her, taking minor AoE damage from the plasma gun. A smart choice, as the combination of glide boosting and plasma gun use has drained her energy, forcing her to move back to a rock formation. With plenty of energy to spare, I turn and boost towards her and land another shot. I take damage in return, but it's only 5k's worth, while Nikkei is most likely hovering around 4,000 or 5,000 AP herself. I then turn around to make another pass and make a grave error. Engaged in the same situation as the moment beforehand, I decide to take the next shot despite being low on ammo and approaching too fast. I miss my shot and take another 5k damage as a result. On top of that, I have lost sight of Nikkei, and with what few precious seconds I have trying to look for her, I take more damage before I retreat, reducing me to 1499 AP. I have now lost AP lead, am low on energy on my last recon and last two shots. The situation is against me, and Nikkei knows this as she immediately begins boosting in my direction to finish the job. I am forced to react as a result, not knowing if I have anything left to clutch out the match. I glide boost toward her and bet it all on one last shot. And unfortunately, it's not enough. My shotguns are not able to bring her down, instead only lowering her AP to 702. With nothing left to hit her with, I try to boost kick her, but it's too little too late. Game over. And that does it for this episode of SCANalytics. Let me know what you think about the breakdown below in the comments, or if you have any questions, anything you're curious about, or didn't think I covered. As always, your support is always appreciated whether you like, subscribe, or share this video. Thanks again for watching, until next time, pilots.